Hello everyone and welcome to a new video in our section Control Environment Agriculture Quick Facts. Today we're going to learn about strawberry propagation. When we think about the production of different crops, we sometimes think about the process of seeding, where are we getting our transplants, or sometimes we produce our own transplants. So, if for strawberry, it can be a little bit more complicated. There are different options. Some options can be better than other ones. So today we're going to learn about the planting material for strawberry production, like which are the options. And if you are working in a greenhouse, we sometimes approach the production of season. So we really need to think about the planting material in advance so we can get the planting material that we want on time and at the time that we can still find it. Before starting to share any information, I found very important to mention that all the information provided today, you can find it at the Ohio State University website. This website is managed by the Dr. Sherry Kubota at the Kubota Lab, and in here you can find a lot of information about hydroponic strawberry production, including the planting materials. So it's always important as a grower know where to find a good source of information. So this is a pretty good option. And today I will share the information based on this information. So let's start learning. As I mentioned, when we work with a strawberry, we can find different options available for planting material. So here I have a list of some of them. We can find bare root frigo plants, bare root duck plants, root runners, runner propagation or runner tips, tray and mini tray plants, condizione plugs, and also seed propagation. So these are a lot of different options, and we can sometimes be confused when we learn about all these options. So let's start speaking about each of them. A common option are bare root frigo plants. These plants are already developed, they are not young plants, and in this case, they are dug out from soil beds in the field in early or mid-winter. In this case, for these plants, we remove the leaves and they are stored at very low temperature, something around minus 1.2 degrees Celsius. These plants are usually single-crowned and they can be stored for about 5 to 6 months. When you get these plants, it's very important to think about a strategy to clean them because they were in soil. And actually, for all the planting material, we need to think about with a strategy because it's very common. It's very sad, but it's very common for a strawberry to have problems with our planting material. So let's try to clean them at least with a fungicide to try to remove any kind of fungi or even some bacteria that can be on the roots. Once you have the roots clean, then we can use, for example, this kind of trays so you can put the plants in there with the substrate. We usually want to cover the substrate, we want to cover the plant until you reach the crown. The crown should be exposed and the roots obviously should be inside of the substrate. In this case, it's very important to consider to have a tray with a good space for root development. It will depend on how you do this kind of production. Sometimes we go and put the plant directly on the substrate that we will use for production. But if you want to do a treatment or to keep the plants on different conditions, it's very recommended to have these kind of trays so you can have a good space and good environment for the roots, which is one of the most important aspects on the development of the plant at early stage. Then we have runner tips or rooter runners. So strawberry is a plant that can propagate itself when it's grown under high nitrogen. So when we have mother plants with high nitrogen, they will start to produce runners. The runners can be then cut and you can then produce a new plant that we call the daughter plant. So in this case, this plant is usually clean. However, it's in a very early stage of development, which is fine. However, when we are approaching the off-season production, which is very common for greenhouse production and the hydroponic strawberry production, we usually want to have a planting material that can grow grow more quickly, and we can find like a good situation on the growth of the flowers and the fruits. So this is why this is not like a very typical option for off season. However, it could be a good option also for typical production of strawberry, which is most of the time on the field. Then we have the option of tray and mini tray plants. This is actually one of the most common options if you are working with greenhouse production and targeting off-season production. Why? Because this plant is already developed. It has leaves. It has actually flower initials already ready to develop. It has substrate, and the root is also in good condition. However, there are different options, one with less substrate than another one. In this case, as I mentioned, it's very important to have a space on the root. So in this case, if you can go and look for a higher substrate, that would be better. However, in terms of the availability and also the price, sometimes we can use also the mini tray plants. So this is again one of the most common option, and also you need to think about an approach to clean them or prevent any kind of pest development that can go and develop inside of the greenhouse. And remember, when you are working with transplants, and let's say you get the plants ahead of time before move them to the final production area, it's always important to consider move them to a bigger space. So if you get the plants on time, you can use trays with higher, with larger area of the volume for the development of the roots. We have seen this problem, for example, with the mini tray. The space for the roots is very small. So if you can move the plant to a better condition so the root can have more space for development, you will see a difference on the growth on the plant. Again, this development at early stage of development is very sensible to the ambient, including different factors, but space is one of them. So now let's speak about condition plugs. So in this case, condition plugs are plants that are, for example, they can be short day, and they are already treated with short day conditions or also low temperature. So in this case, the plants are already ready to produce flowers, and you can also get these plants with leaves, with the flower initials, and also the substrate. Condition plants can have also good benefits. So in this case, these plants can be treated at a specific time. So you can target a specific month, for example, for transplanting these plants to the final area of production and targeting a specific window for harvesting. So they can be also a good strategy for off-season production. And now we're going to speak about the last option, which is seed propagation. This is actually not common. Is not something that we see frequently. However, people is more often now speaking about the use of seeds. Why? Because we sometimes get a lot of problems with the tray plants or with any kind of planting material because of the diseases and the pests that we usually get. So obviously, if you start from seeds, it's a very long process that, for example, in off-season production could be something that we need to work like ahead so we can have the plants ready at a specific time. So there is work done in this area so we can think more about the use of seeds, but today is not something that we use very common. So let's see if this can be something that we can work on the near future. As I mentioned on the beginning, you need to think ahead of time on which planting material you will be using because they are not available all the time. And most of the time, the availability depends a lot on field production. So here we have a calendar shared by Dr. Sherry Kubota. This is also from the website of the Ohio State University. And here you can see when the plants are available. So if you are working with a strawberry or you are planning to work with a strawberry, you need to think ahead of time on the planting material that you are like trying to get, and if you need to do any treatment to them, it's also something good to think about before asking for the plants. When we work with transplants, we always need to think to keep the plants in the better space for development. So here are some options that we manage in Hort Americas. These are strawberry trays that can be used for plant propagation. If you are doing, for example, research with a strawberry and you are producing your own runners, which is what I did on a grad school, you can totally use this kind of product to get the correct space for the roots. Also, if you are getting your plants ahead of time and you have like very small development because the plant has very little substrate, you can also think of moving the plants to a different area with more substrate. Or if you need to move the plants to get a specific photo period or to get a specific temperature, obviously it will be better if you can move them all at the same time with less space and higher density, which is what we use with transplants. So in this case, you can also get this kind of trays, so you can manage everything more easily, and actually you will be providing better condition for the roots, which is one of the most important organs at the beginning of the development, because you can see the speed of growth on the final area of production will depend totally on how the roots were developed at the beginning. And with that, you have reached the final part of the video. I hope you enjoy this information. Remember, if you are thinking on growing strawberries, it's always important to think ahead of time on different factors that can affect your production. So the plant material is the first decision to make before starting. So if you want to learn more about a strawberry, remember that we manage also the strawberry short course, and we have a guide available on our website. So go and check the information and subscribe if you want to learn a little bit more about control environment agriculture. Remember, my name is Carla Garcia, Hort Americas Technical Service. See you on the next video. Bye-bye.